Hey, what's up everyone, Ragey Golden Eagle here, having way too much fun as always. And I'm coming at you with another video where I say something that should be viewed as common sense and would have been about a generation ago, yet is an absolute shock to many people in current year. This, by the way, is completely unplanned and off the cuff. Yes, it is edited though. So that's why it's going to sound a lot more coherent than my live streams when it's done. But I was ranting elsewhere about this and the train of thought just wouldn't be stopped, so here we are, enjoy. I'm going to be pointing out the obvious fact that loyalty is a two-way street. If you expect me to be loyal to you, then you damn well better return the favor. For an example of where this goes wrong, I find it hilarious how companies expect 100% loyalty from their employees, then kick these same employees to the curb as soon as it's convenient for them. Yeah, sure, they may put on an act for the sake of politics, but they for the most part do just view their employees as expendable worker drones. And despite all of this, they have the balls to then get offended when their employees view them as an expendable money dispenser in return. If the employees know that their employer will lay them off without a second thought the moment the company starts losing some money, while at the same time executive salaries don't even get a single cut, or that they're going to be fired the second someone stirs up some faux outrage on social media, why the hell would these people show any kind of loyalty to their employer in return? People who know what's going on. These woke employees view their employer the same way that their employer views them, as a means to an end. And the same is true from the other side too, though. I've personally known some previously idealistic business owners that had to learn how reality works the hard way when they were taken advantage of one too many times. So their response, they just stopped trying to be nice and became as cutthroat as the people they were dealing with. And after they did that, they became a lot more successful, funny enough. So yeah, an employer who lays off good employees without a second thought has absolutely no right to complain about an employee that jumps ship to a higher paying competitor without a second thought. And vice versa. That's the important part. As I stated at the beginning, loyalty is a two-way street. This shit goes both ways. If you are the kind of employee who would jump to another company for more pay without feeling any guilt about it, regardless of how bad it may screw over your current employer, then you have no right to complain when your current employer then lays you off without a second thought, regardless of how bad it screws you over. And funny enough, before we move on, I just gotta mention, I don't particularly have a problem with this being the way things are. My problem is with the people who refuse to see this is how things work. Employees getting butthurt that their employer doesn't care about them as a person, doesn't care about them past their usefulness as a wage slave. And on the flip side, employers who are butthurt that their employees view them as just a paycheck. Getting butthurt at the situation isn't going to help anything. That's how it is, and you just have to accept it. Now, whether or not you keep going like you are now or you make moves to help improve the situation is entirely up to you, but before you can choose to do nothing or something, you have to at least accept reality as it is. Though now that I think about it, these idealists do make for easy marks for those who understand the situation and have no issues taking advantage of it, so I wonder which group of people is going to be fighting tooth and nail to keep things like they are. But either way, the same thing can be said for companies that sell you goods or services. In the past, companies actually cared about the quality of their product and very much wanted their consumers to be loyal to their brand. And that actually works pretty well as long as you continue putting out good stuff. But the second you drop a stinker, or your loyal consumers decide to try a competitor and realize that you've been pretty shit all along, all of that built up goodwill and trust and loyalty is gone for a lot of people. And here's actually where the both ways part comes in here too. There are loyal customers out there who trust that the company just made a mistake and it will get better. And if that loyalty is returned, and the company does indeed learn from their mistakes and fixes the problem, they can actually even end up coming out ahead in this situation, with the obvious exceptions being catastrophic mistakes that often lead to the downfall of the whole company. And hell, even some of those who previously abandoned them will see that they have turned the ship around and will come back. But if that loyalty is not returned and the company doubles down on their mistakes, that is where everything falls apart. For some real-life examples, look at Western comics. Manga is on the rise as Western comics are on the decline. Why is that? Well, it's actually a whole shitload of reasons. But the most important factor, in my opinion, is that manga actually gives the customers, and a very diverse range of them at that, what they actually want. Meanwhile, the Western comic book pros are on social media telling the customers what they want, and if they disagree, they can go feast upon some ass. Look at Western animation. Anime is one of the few non-interactive forms of entertainment that's actually still growing, which is why Netflix is starting to invest so much money into it. So given its success, you'd think that they'd realize anime demonstrates to Western animators what the customers actually want to see. Yet these Western animators still decide to ignore the whole thing and make BS like Thundercats Roar. Imagine if Japan did this. The world of Berserk lends itself so well to comedy. Look forward to the new remake coming soon. And hell, look at gaming. Big-name Western developers are starting to fall apart while Asia and some small Central and Eastern European developers are pumping out hit after hit. Even Nintendo has turned their ship around. As critical as I tend to be of Nintendo, especially Nintendo of America, I will give them credit for learning from their mistakes, which funny enough also includes reining in Nintendo of America and their censorship. So good on you, Nintendo. And when you stop and think about it, it's pretty obvious what all of these examples have in common. We are talking about entertainment here, not necessities. I am forced to pay good money to my piece of shit power company even though they are constantly having outages, because I don't have a choice. They're a monopoly. I can't go to a competitor. With entertainment, though, not only is it something you can actually live without, so even if there wasn't a better option out there, you could just drop it, but thankfully you don't have to because you do have more choice in that area than ever before in human history. Even in the recent past, before the internet, you were limited by what the gatekeepers allowed you to have. But those days are over. If one form of entertainment fails to give you what you want, you can get it elsewhere. Where there's demand, someone will provide the supply. And do the Western companies being left behind realize their mistakes and start actually giving their customers what they want? Yeah, some do to their credit. But others just double down and continue actively insulting their audience while ruining their products to appeal to a bunch of whiners who will never be their customers anyway. And this is where loyalty comes in once again. This loyalty is pretty hard to break when it comes to beloved names in gaming like BioWare. But eventually, even the most diehard fans realize that A, the current BioWare is nothing even remotely like the great BioWare of the past. I mean, damn, is there even a single high-level employee still left at the company that was with them during its glory days? And B, BioWare right now is just an arm of EA. The only reason they survived as long as they have is because of the nostalgic loyalty of their diehard fans. And also EA's marketing budget, I'll have to admit that too. But even diehard BioWare fans who are pining for the days of Knights of the Old Republic have their limit. After multiple flops, even those fans wake up. Who would have guessed that if you fail to return someone's loyalty long enough, they will eventually just pack it up and take it elsewhere? And in the interest of full disclosure, me personally, I've been burned enough times that my standards are actually quite simple nowadays. Simply make things I actually want to pay for, and I'll pay for them. Put out something I don't want to pay for, and I won't. I don't care if you were a big part of my childhood. I don't care if I have been supporting you for the past 20 years. Blizzard. You will only have my support as long as you make stuff I actually want. But on the plus side, it's very damn easy for you guys to win me back. If you release multiple stinkers and then suddenly put out an actually good product again, I'll be right there to buy it. Well, provided you don't completely screw the pooch and later bait and switch me using patches to change and censor things after the fact, and or pretty much do the same thing via live service shenanigans. For me anyway, bait and switch is the line in the sand. That is the one move that will completely kill whatever trust and loyalty I had towards you permanently. Once you pull the bait and switch, there's no going back. And I'm far from the only one who thinks this way, so tread carefully when you're trying to figure out how to meet that bottom line. That's all I gotta say, guys. Thanks for listening.